There is much upon this earth that casts a shadow. Even you. Be still. Go nowhere. Wait until the light shines directly overhead. If only for a moment. Know. Before we come to the page, before the first word is ever written down or read or listened to, there is a longing to connect. My name is Charlie Mehrhoff, your host here at Before the Page, a podcast featuring poetry, parable, fiction, and words to echo our longing. Welcome, friends and listeners, to this 5th episode of Before the Page. Today we're going to feature words regarding here and beyond. I'm going to open with some words from the 1855 version of Leaves of Grass, Walt Whitman. Have you reckoned 1,000 acres much? Have you reckoned the earth much? Have you practiced so long to learn to read? Have you felt so proud to get at the meaning of poems? Stop this day and night with me, and you shall possess the origin of all poems. You shall possess the good of the earth and sun. There are millions of suns left. You shall no longer take things at second or third hand, nor look through the eyes of the dead, nor feed on the spectres in books. You shall not look through my eyes either, nor take things from me. You shall listen to all sides and filter them from yourself. I have heard what the tellers were talking, the talk of the beginning and the end, but I do not talk of the beginning or the end. There was never any more inception than there is now, nor any more youth or age than there is now, and will never be any more perfection than there is now, nor any more heaven or hell than there is now. Urge and urge and urge, always the procreant urge of the world. Out of the dimness, opposite equals advance, always substance and increase, always a knit of identity, always distinction, always a breed of life. To elaborate is no avail. Learned and unlearned feel that it is so. Sure as the most certain sure, plumb in the uprights, well entreated, braced in the beams, stout as a horse, affectionate, haughty, electrical, I and this mystery, here we stand. We are going to continue with a section from the Essene Gospel of Peace, brought into English by Edmund Zakeli in the 1930s from Aramaic and Slavonic sources. This section is entitled The Earthly Mother. Honor thy earthly mother, that thy days may be long upon the land. The earthly mother is in thee, and thou in her. She bore thee, she giveth thee life. It was she who gaveth thee thy body, and to her shalt thou one day give it back again. Happy art thou when thou comest to know her and her kingdom. If thou receivest thy mother's angels, and if thou dost her laws, who doeth these things shall never see disease. For the power of our mother is above all. She hath rule over all the bodies of men and all living things. The blood which runs in us is born of the blood of our earthly mother. Her blood falls from the clouds, leaps up from the womb of the earth, babbles in the brooks of the mountains, flows wide in the rivers of the plains, sleeps in the lakes, rages mightily in the tempestuous seas. The air which we breathe is born of the breath of our earthly mother. Her breath is azure in the heights of the heavens, soughs in the tops of the mountains, whispers in the leaves of the forest, billows over the cornfields, slumbers in the deep valleys, burns hot in the desert. The hardness of our bones is born of the bones of our earthly mother. Of the rocks and of the stones they stand naked to the heavens. On the tops of the mountains they are as giants that lie sleeping on the sides of the mountains, as idols set in the desert, and are hidden in the deepness of the earth. The tenderness of our flesh is born of the flesh of our earthly mother, whose flesh waxeth yellow and red in the fruits of the trees, and nurtures us in the furrows of the fields. The light of our eyes, the hearing of our ears, both are born of the colors and sounds of our earthly mother, which enclose us about, as the waves of the sea a fish, as the eddying air a bird. Man is the son of the earthly mother, and from her did the Son of Man receive his whole body, even as the body of the newborn babe is born of the womb of his mother. Thou art one with the earthly mother. She is in thee, and thou in her. Of her wert thou born, in her dost thou live, and to her shalt thou return again. Keep, therefore, her laws, for none can live long, neither be happy, but he who honors his earthly mother, and doeth her laws. For thy breath is her breath, thy blood her blood, thy bone her bone, thy flesh her flesh, thy eyes and thy ears are her eyes and her ears. Our earthly mother, always are we embraced by her, always are we surrounded by her beauty. Never can we part from her, never can we know her depths. Ever doth she create new forms. That which now existeth never was before. That which did exist returneth not again. In her kingdom all is ever new, and always old. In her midst do we live, yet we know her not. Continually doth she speak to us, yet never doth betray to us her secrets. Ever do we till her soil and harvest her crops, yet we have no power over her. Ever doth she build, ever doth she destroy, and her workplace is hidden from the eyes of men. This next piece is composed by the reader. Who took the dream of the land? Who staked down private property through the soul of the deer? Who diverted streams, cleared forests, burned fields? I seek to know my own name. I seek to know why, after all that I have done to hurt her, does the mother continue to embrace me. This also by the reader. There is much upon this earth that casts a shadow, even you. Be still. Go nowhere. Wait until the light shines directly overhead. If only for a moment. No. Here follows a prayer composed by Rabindranath Tagore. Let my country awake. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms toward perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by you into ever-widening thought and action, into that haven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Friends, the reader is excited to be giving voice to glimmerings, most of which were composed over a century ago in Jerusalem by Rav Kook, translated from the Hebrew by Rachel Tova Ebner. A 40-year labor of love for her to bring these words into English. With great gratitude for her permission. And there will be more glimmerings, rest assured, that will be read on future episodes of Before the Page. The book that they are being read from, these glimmerings are being read from, is entitled The Torah of Tomorrow, One Song, by Rav Kook. And again, it's translated by Rachel Tova Ebner, and it's available on Mosaica Press. Begin with a piece, All-Inclusive Love. I love all. I cannot not love all human beings, all nations. With the full depth of my heart, I desire glory for all, healing for all. My love for Israel is more enthusiastic, deeper, but this inner desire of mine expands with its mighty love to encompass all, for real. I have no need to force this feeling of all-inclusive love. It wells up directly from the deep holiness of the wisdom of my divine soul. This is entitled Intimacy with the Source of the True You. The goal of studying the wisdom of the mysteries at every moment on the journey is developing the power of a soul to the point that she stands on her own inner power, able to drink in directly from her source with no need for third-party instruction. And this phenomena of self-knowing leading to God-knowing causes all existence as a whole to know itself. And it is via inner self-knowing that abundant life enrichment is drawn down from on high in a unity of mind and will that is uninterrupted by boundaries or details. As stated at the beginning of this podcast, the words we're going to feature relate to here and beyond. And Rav Kook definitely represents the beyond. This is entitled A Huge Talent May Underlie an Apparent Deficiency. When a person wants to study, but when he begins to study any topic, his spirit doesn't become settled within him. And then it seems to him that what he needs is to latch on to some other topic. This happens because of the overflowing abundance of his faculty of thought, which desires, in fact, to encompass everything, and wants no communion with anything limited. And while it is imperative for the person to vanquish even this deficiency, which arises from a talent, nonetheless, a person cannot conduct this conquest with the same strategy one would use to direct a victory over a deficit that arises from lowness. For in the end, we must know that it is impossible to uproot from a soul the tendency toward greatness and spiritual expansion that is already inherently hers. This is entitled Answering the Call to Higher Spirituality. A person who has an inclination toward kindness, toward intimate closeness with the divine, and toward higher abstract spiritual wisdoms, must know that he was created for this. And if he shirks his lofty work, for which only a few remaining individuals have the gift, who then will fill this great void? Therefore, Let him rejoice in his life assignment and not consider it bad, and let him not disparage the life assignment of other people, even though they are far distant from this one. For no doubt those people have other specialties yielding benefit and purpose that are beyond him. And he must always stay rich in knowledge and kindness, honoring all people and loving them all, and eagerly seeking goodness for them and an improved state. Even if a person has only a slight tendency toward lofty spiritual ideas, even if he doesn't truly possess intelligence and wisdom, but only some elevation of the power of imagination at any level above the ordinary, the whole obligation of the conduct of higher holiness already applies to him. And he must embrace solitude on his holy journey and raise himself above the great masses in dimensions of goodness and higher qualities, and he must strive to learn from every person, especially from the innocent masses and from anyone who has any kind of virtue. But should he want to walk the ordinary road of the masses and their ordinary sages, he will not be able to do so in any way. Let him just strive to acquire elevated qualities and a clear assessment of the world, and he must not abandon the constant yearning for closeness with God that is engraved upon his soul because of any obstacle in the world. He must not pursue honor, but he must not get alarmed when he finds people honoring him to the extreme. And certainly he should not be troubled when detractors disparage him or belittle his honor. Again, it is just such an honor to be giving voice to the words of Rav Kook. This is called Protection on Your Journey. Although many have stumbled as a result of pondering the mysteries, the person who is ready for spiritual enlightenment need not pull back from his inherent desire to become one who meditates on high ideas. And just as it is the case in all matters of life, which are full of places a person could stumble, but nonetheless, those who proceed with integrity walk their road safely, and God's help protects them. It is also thus in relation to spiritual life. A person need only cleanse his heart and make an effort with an attitude of morality and a desire for the good, which is the inner content of holiness, to do the will of his Creator, and to aim his heart toward heaven. And he will then be protected from any obstacle and will safely walk his road of Torah and wisdom, of investigating the divine, and of understanding truth through coming to know God. Before reading this final piece, a note on what a tzaddik is. A tzaddik is a purely righteous human being. There are no more than 36 of them alive at one time on the earth. And they could be of, to the reader's knowledge, any faith, any walk of life, any place. But these purely righteous human beings keep the human world from annihilation. This piece is entitled Faith in Your Unique Enlightenment. The person who has become capable of seeing the hidden lives in belief of the hidden, and to him the revealed is but a faint reflected glow of the hidden, which radiates its huge teaching in a lightning flash. And this hidden enlightenment is unique in each person in a form unique to him. It is bound up with the person's unique selfhood, which is never duplicated or repeated in any way, and it cannot be passed on to another in any utterance or explanation. They shall be yours alone, and the tzaddik lives by his belief, means precisely that he lives by his own belief, And it is out of this radiant belief of his own, which readies for him his own separate Eden, that he emerges to stroll in God's courtyards, where giving and receiving are permitted, and his wisdom mingles with mankind. Your wellsprings disperse outward, water-laden streams pouring into the public plazas, and these streams become as wide as rivers, flowing from the great sea of the great faith hidden in the depths of his heart. And to the place where these rivers arise is where they continuously return. Again, that was Rav Kook, translated by Rachel Tova Ebner. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Before the Page. If you wish to contact us at Before the Page, that is beforethepage@gmail.com. That's beforethepage@gmail.com. Thank you again so much for listening.